ripper of a World Finals race. Of course, it's winner takes all in these 4 classes. And as I say, the suspense continuing to build on the grid.
Couldn't agree with you more, Tom. As we go back to our drone shot and have a look at that beautiful field as it sits awaiting the green flag, or at least the pace car laps, to get the World Final underway. So teams are still allowed to stand next to the cars and tend to their drivers, tend to the cars a couple of more minutes before the all clear is given to the grid, where the mechanics will have to hop onto the cold side of the pit wall, and these cars will start to roll away in front of the Mustang pace car. It's been a fun weekend so far. We did mention that this is 4 days of racing for the Radical Cup. We started here on Thursday with a couple of test sessions in the morning, followed by official free practice 1. We came back on Friday with free practice 2 in the morning, and then we did a qualifying session later on that morning. And, of course, heat race 1 in the afternoon. Saturday, we had 1 race yesterday. That was heat race number 2. We did some karting in the morning, and so that was exciting. And, well, it looks like Tom might have found one more fellow to interview. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I'm just down here with Lenny Toomas, Steve Jenks, crew chief. Lenny, it was a late call for Steve to join the competition, but he's been doing a fantastic job and lining up on the front row.
Yeah, it was late. Thanks, Steve. Really appreciate that. But crew did an excellent job. Cars running well. But this race, actually, there's like 6 guys that can win this. So it's just, can't make a mistake.
It's unbelievably tight. Now, what was the strategy going through the heats? Were you using these as test sessions and trying to find the pace? Are you happy with the setup? Is there still more time to find?
Yeah, somewhat. It was more about getting Steve comfortable in the car because he went and ran a 1340 on us. You know, it's a whole different driving style, so getting him used to the car again. The SR10 with the power and how to drive it. So get him sorted out and then just work on our setup.
Well, good luck. I know you're hoping for a title. Mike Anzaldi, I'm just looking at the rear wings too, and it would appear to me that Steve Jenks is still running a slightly lower wing angle than some of our other Platinum class drivers around them. And Lenny just saying shush on that one. I've given away the trade secret, but you can see here the rear wing is down slightly lower than perhaps even Mr. Schreiber just ahead. So Scott Wagner also running a relatively high wing. And look at this, Raider Nicol, speaking of rear wings, how laid over is this thing? It's almost flat. So Raider Nicol electing to hold on through the corners and just hope that the straight line speed will carry him past the 2 cars ahead. I'll throw back up to you, Mike Anzaldi.
Looking at Raider Nicol's rear wing there, yeah, the kid doesn't need any downforce or any more drag in the rear, rather. He's got that car mechanically set up to do what he needs to do, and he's also very good on the steering wheel. Seen him saw at the wheel feverishly and with great success. He can handle a car that is slightly out of balance or light or with low downforce. That is not going to be a problem for Raider Nicol. He's our 2025 Pro 1500 champion, and by a long stretch this season, he was dominant through 15 races, going quite literally 15 for 15. So, yeah, Raider Nicol on the second row. And, yeah, certainly looking forward to a green flag here. He hasn't had the results that he was hoping for in the first couple of heat races. And so he'll be looking to, as Tom would say, make amends. Tom, who do you have now?
We're just down here with Crown Racing. Joey, this is a high-tension moment, of course. It's like the calm before the storm with all the cars lined up. But what words of wisdom have you given some of your drivers out there?
That it's going to take a lot of courage to get this done here. 1340's got a lot of corner speed. Obviously we got 4 fast guys, and we got to get to the finish. And I think we can get there. We got a good chance at polluting the podium.
This is sort of like a McLaren situation. You've got 2 fast drivers, Chris McMurray, also, of course, Brady Clapham coming in to join the Crown stable for this weekend. So how have you been managing the two characters underneath the same tent?
Yeah, it's actually been really good. We got Dominic Cicero with us this weekend, and he's really done a great job of bringing all the guys together. Curtis Brown's kept everybody in check, and we got everybody working together, and I think it's really showed that we have speed, and we're getting ready to take it to these guys.
Well, there you have it. Crown Concepts ready to go racing here at VIR. Mike, I'll throw back up to you and see if we can capture one last interview with someone down here near the grid.
Sounds good, Tom. And Crown Racing very busy over the last 60 to 80 minutes after that heat race 3, with 3 of the 4 of the machines that they support needing repairs after contact or offs. It's been a challenging weekend in that class for the Bacon family. Jace is very, very quick. He has proven that in practice and in a couple of the races, but just hasn't seen the results because of circumstances. And so, indeed, a very busy pre-race for the Crown Concepts tent, where they needed to, again, put 3 of those cars back together in a very short amount of time. Tom?
One more person down here on the grid before we go racing, and that's Sean McGray from Spring Mountain Racing. Of course, Spring Mountain, the longest dealer we've had in North America for Radical Motorsport. The car's just starting up, so Sean, the nerves starting to climb a little bit.
No, the nerves all went away after race 3, after our small incident we had. But you know what? We're back on the grid with a car, hopefully that's going to be competitive, and we'll get through this and maybe go home with some trophies today.
That was a tight turnaround between the Heat 3 and then, of course, the final. But Brandon Rambo, A-OK, and the car good enough to race, yes?
Yeah, Brandon Driver was A-OK on it. Not a real big hit, but it did some damage to the car. We think we got it patched back up and we'll be competitive.
Of course, this is the one that counts. So it'll be interesting to see how the number 16 comes up through the gold class.
He's a hell of a driver. We're going to do something really special here.
Fantastic. Well, we'll let Sean go there. Brandon Rambo just collecting his thoughts on the grid as well. The cars have started their engines, so we're under 3 minutes. The photographers taking their final shots. And as we mentioned, this is a winner-takes-all final 40-minute race to set the score here in Virginia for 4 world titles on the line. Up next is the Radical World Finals.
Thank you, Tom. Super exciting visits down on the grid. The Rambo family all here supporting their buddy Brandon in the car. Just spoke to Dad Brad, and he said, hope that Gorilla Tape works nicely. Keep the front end of that 1500 SR3 with the Dayglow yellow wheels and the black sides. Really cool looking top to the car there. That's Brandon Rambo, and he's enjoying his first taste of national level Radical Cup racing. So, as Tom said, getting ready to get the cars to roll away. We are getting the 1-minute warning at the front of the grid where these cars will start to roll. I suspect that it will be the Platinum class on the inside of the track there to your left. That whole row will depart the grid. Then they'll let the 1500s go. The 1500 Gold class is at the end of that middle row. And then the 1340s will queue up and get ready to roll on their exploratory laps. So perfect weather most of the weekend, in fact, the entire weekend. Who are we kidding here? It's 70 degrees. It was 68 degrees yesterday. It was 61 degrees on Thursday. It's been really lovely here out in Virginia, and it has been a very, very comfortable weekend. So the the pace car is being dispatched out onto the surface, and we are just seconds away from Radical personnel waving the cars forward, and off we go. Well, Tom is back up here in the booth. That was good interviews, buddy. You made quick time.
Yes, mate, just ran up here, catching my breath as these drivers start their first of the 2 pace laps. And very much looking forward to this one. We've got looks to me like cars, the 1500s just going away, moving away now. So everyone getting under power, which is good to see. This is always a nerve-wracking moment for the crews.
For sure. It looked like Brandon was a little bit out of position there. He wasn't. He was just kind of behind the Platinum cars, and he's gone away, no problem.
So there we go. Here we are after Las Vegas and then Portimao. Of course, Yas Marina last year. It's Virginia International Raceway just near the east coast of the USA. As you can see, a stunning circuit. A very, very long one at that. And 3.27 miles, 17 turns. We've mentioned them before, but really what's marked is the disaster zones, if you will. Turn 1, a great passing opportunity, but it's easy to drop a wheel on the outside. Turn 4, causing chaos. It's typically 5, though, that we've seen the spins. And, of course, the famous Oak Tree corner down at 11 and 12, producing some great racing. And really, that kink at the back, at the end of that long, long back straight, you treat it like a kink, don't you, Mike Anzaldi? It's not a corner. But then you've got to set up this rapid braking zone to woe it down into the right-hander, and the car's quite unsettled. We've seen that on the in-car cameras, how much the drivers are having to throw in a little bit of opposite lock, basically handle the rear end, because I think the rear wings, as we saw on the grid, are down significantly, and therefore they're just not getting the downforce underneath the braking zones.
I agree with you there, and frankly, the Radical is very, very quick on entry speed, and so that is typically where the time is. It's not down the straights. Everybody could step on the throttle the same way. It's that entry speed that you're going to see some of the top drivers, and you'll actually see a difference right on camera about how those cars enter the corner and reach the apex, and yeah, it's usually a miscalculation there, taking a couple of mile an hour too much, or taking a couple of mile an hour not enough, where you either get collected or you could throw it off. So it's that entry speed. Certainly, me as a Radical Cup driver, that is the thing that I'm always working on. That's the thing I'll be watching out for these guys.
Well, in a moment, I think we'll take you through the starting grid. And here we are. So off the back of the pack in the 1340 field, it's the Bacon boys, Dad Seth alongside Jace Bacon. They'll start from the 14th row. From row 13, it's Kenny Nail alongside Mike Dambrose. And Mike Dambrose, of course, a fellow Autobahn Country Club member. Kenny Nail running for Graham Rahal Performance. From row 12... we have Robert Burgess sharing the grid with Chris McMurray. And Robert Burgess, as we mentioned, reigning world champion out of Canada. Chris McMurray racing for Crown Concepts and features a lot out at the Apex Country Club. And on the front row of Pro 1340, it's Vaughan Glace. I got to say, Brady Clapham's going to have to look out for him. Of course, it's Brady Clapham with 3 wins so far this weekend, and he'll start from the Pro 1340 pole. At the back of the Gold 1500, it's Brandon Rambo, who we spoke to, Sean McGray, his crew chief, but Brandon, look out for him, I think, in this one. From row 9, it'll be Andy Lowe, who starts alongside Chris Hunn, and the Englishman Andy Lowe has driven Radicals in the Middle East, across Europe, the UK, here in America as well. It's very well versed behind the wheel of these machines. Arul Venkatesh will start alongside Ian Aguilera. Arul, a bit further back than he'd like, certainly for Ian, a long way back, so watch out for him. Jack Yang will start from 14th on the grid alongside Luke Kendall, who I've been thoroughly impressed by this weekend. From row 6, it's Valen Venkatesh, the younger of the Venkatesh brothers, having the bragging rights at the moment. Alongside him will be Raider Nicole, who finally has got things moving in the right direction. And then from the front row in Pro 1500, it's Max van der Snel alongside Jonas Axbo. So that will be interesting to watch as they head down into turn 1. Right, for the Platinum class, 8th on the grid, Dale Dillon starts alongside Jason Greenwood. Greenwood having a solid sort of run at the office, isn't he? He's just had a good, positive weekend. Very, very happy. It's first time here at VIR. James Long starts from 6th alongside Wayne Williams, who it's fair to say has some work to do over the 40 minutes to get back into contention. From the second row of the grid, it's Greg Gorski, who's taken out a heat win alongside him. Teammate Scott Wagner, who's been a bit unlucky this weekend, but still collected plenty of points. And then the front row of the Platinum class, it's Steve Jenks for Group A Racing and Louis Schreiber on the pole. Louis Schreiber very ecstatic after finishing second in class and on the podium in the final heat race. You can see here we're right on board with Louis Schreiber, really working the tiller as he tries to get some heat into the Hankook tyres. Mike Anzaldi, this is always a tense moment. A start with nearly 30 cars on the grid. Of course, I almost anticipate, whilst we've had some clean starts, that maybe we might see a little bit of chaos unfold in this one.
Yeah, this is a take-all situation, right? It's like go big or go home, I guess. And some real-world interview action that we had earlier. I talked to Robert Burgess, who's actually got a little bit of anxiety over where he is in his class and the incidents that have taken place. And so, yeah, definitely the nerves are up, and this is a tense moment.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, for wherever you are around the world. The pace car is coming into pit lane. The first group, the Platinum class cars, are just lining up nice and neat, heading towards what will undoubtedly be a green flag. It was a long wait in heat race number 3. And Louis Schreiber's been crowded. He's gone already, and we're expecting the green flag to fly. Steve Jenks with a disastrous start. The number 8 of Scott Wagner already ahead, and now Jenks trying to come back. A look at Wayne Williams just positioning himself, electing to stay out of trouble as around the outside goes on. We've had a spin. That's Wagner. But around the outside was Greg Gorski, and so Hayes had a good start. As we go back to
yellow,
a green flag with a yellow and a green flag. So this will be interesting. Now they enter the yellow sector.
And they're 3 wide.
God knows how they'll sort that out. But a green flag for the Pro 1500s with a yellow. Now they come into turn 1.
Had Scott gotten out of the way, it does appear we're not seeing him.
That's right. So maybe that yellow withdrawn. Certainly a green flag for the 1340. So we're underway in all 3 groups, and we're racing on this first lap of a 40-minute sprint race to dictate who will become the 2025 Radical World Final Champions. Louis Schreiber converts his pole position into an early lead. Greg Gorski, what a great result for him, up to second on those opening couple of corners.
Back in 1500 gold, already low, picks off Hoon.
So that's a big moment. What can Chris Hoon have up his sleeve to come back and look at this race?
That's Kendall on Venkatesh.
Yeah, and Kendall, just a little nose in there. It's very, very tight. Oh, he's on the curb, and it's almost a touch as they exit the Oak Tree corner. That's going to really play into Ian Aguilera's hands. Look at this on what will be the inside once they get to the right-hander. There's almost a little bit of a touch. Toing and froing down the back straight. This is a long stretch, and you can see Luke Kendall come back, the Primal car, with a little bit more straight line speed. Ian with the corner as they head through, and that's a beautiful pass, nice and clean for Aguilera, who moves up a spot.
Nice pass for Aguilera, but an even better bit of behavior by Kendall. Do not die on that hill. Let's go racing again.
Not on lap 1.
Nope, but he is wide there. He is wide there, Kendall, and it looks like that's an SR10.
So is that Long, James Long, I think, running a little bit.
And Gorski, yep.
Dale Dillon behind, it looks like. So
Jason Greenwood coming through with his Eddie Van Halen livery.
So Scott Wagner, where is he? We're waiting to see him come through. So we're just picking up. There's a great battle down into turn 1 as well for the Pro 1340 followers. Vaughan Glace was sizing up Brady Clapham. And here on screen, we're watching Wayne Williams attack Greg Gorski. So this is for third. Gorski under a little bit of pressure. Wayne Williams hasn't had, you can see the bodywork colours on that car. There's lots of white bits and bobs on the 57 and under the rear wing. Here's this battle in Pro 1340. So it's Clapham ahead of the proper performance driver, Vaughan Glace. And Vaughan, all of a sudden, seems to have elevated his performance in the final.
Brady has won the heat races, all three of them, but now absolutely his hands are full. Vaughan Glace very quick this weekend, and he's having a look at the back of Brady as they head up the S's.
It's amazing looking at the back of some of these cars. You can see the rear wing on Vaughan Glace's car, also laid right over that second element, not trying to take anything away from the straight line speed. So this is where it's difficult for Vaughan Glace. He's got to negotiate that corner perfectly, get the exit run he wants. I think he did. And now try and tuck under the slipstream of Brady Clapham as they head up this back straight. Clapham almost a sitting duck at this point, as we've got side-by-side action. That's Jason Greenwood on the outside, and it's the 8 of Scott Wagner coming back through.
Scott's got some work to do here. The local guy, he's fell back in that first turn incident there on lap 1, and he's starting to pick people off one by one.
Chris Hoon right under the gearbox of Andy Lowe as well, heading down into turn 1. We're picking up the action just ahead of that.
That's
and
for
that
P2.
is, the 32 Axpo against Van der Snel. And Axpo, I tell you what, he's soaking up all of this international pressure this weekend. Really strong run from the Cameron Racing stable, and Axpo in second, while Nicole out in front and already with a 3-second gap.
I don't know how big of a factor it is, but keep in mind that Van der Snel not in his own car. He is in a rental car, and so there's always a tenth at least, Tom, right? In a rental car, it's not yours, it's not your seat.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, you've got to have that in the back of your mind, don't you? You don't want to bin someone else's car. We've seen some big accidents around here this weekend. Of course, all cars making their way on track. So everyone started this race, that started the competition at the start of this weekend. We'd ride on board now in the Valor racing machine, the 99 of Max van der Snel.
We're sensitive, us drivers, and so if we're comfortable, we're pretty happy. If we're uncomfortable, you're not going to get a lap time. So it looks like Max is okay. He looks like he's pretty comfortable here, and he is battling nicely Axpo for P2.
Working the wheel significantly over the curb. Well, there's some action as well. So this is Andy Lowe is in the thick of that, I think. That's Brandon Rambo with the Dayglow wheels. Love those wheels because I can spot that car a mile away.
Yep. Jack Yang a little bit further down in the field than he is hoping to be, and so he's going to need to just do this step by step. He's on the front straight right now.
Chris Hoon, of course, has made his way past Andy Lowe. So Hoon taking over what he will think is his rightful spot as a lunge for Jack Yang. And this is tight stuff, and they're not actually in class.
Nope. And so Andy thinks better of it. Although that is a class pass, and that is Rambo on Lowe. Wow. It looks like Lowe gave a little bit more, but he's coming back at him, isn't he?
Absolutely. Lowe realizing that was an opportunistic move from Rambo. We heard from Sean McGray, that car's A-OK. Rambo moving forward. We've got commotion further up. That's Brady Clapham, is it? The Canadian. Disaster for the man who's been so quick all weekend long. So what has happened?
Was that Glace with him?
So Clapham comes back on circuit. We're trying to pick up if there's any other cars involved. Now Clapham will have to be on the anchors, accelerating hard on the anchors again. We saw how much grass is collected by the side pods of these machines, and Clapham slow.
And unless I'm mistaken, it looked like it was Vaughn who was giving some left and right action toward the steering wheel there to maybe get his tires cleaned up as he approached
Chris
turn 4.
McMurray's in the lead of Pro 1340 from Jace Bacon. Robert Burgess up to 4th. Both of them have been dumped down the order. So where is Vaughan Glace? He's currently, what is that, 5th or 6th?
P5, yeah.
5th.
P5 right in front of Seth Bacon. D'Ambrose picks up P4 for the moment.
And just like that, everything changes, and you've got to have your money now on an old hand like Chris McMurray. He's been to Le Mans. He knows how to drive cars. He knows how to be fierce and ferocious in a Radical machine. Crown Concepts in the lead. Brady Clapham, though, will be absolutely fuming. He hasn't put a foot wrong as we ride back on board with the 99 of Max van der Snel. So let's pick up the action here. He sits third in class, just ahead. Jonas Axpo, as that is...
It looks like Jason's letting Raiden go.
Yeah, so smart by Jason, but he doesn't want to get these guys caught up. And
Gorski. Oh, no, that's not Gorski, but Long.
No, it's Long, and he's hit. Oh, no, he's tagged. That's terrible.
He's
That's
tagged
absolute disaster for van der Snel. Van der Snel will be fuming. The Platinum class car, I don't know what happened there. It must have been that Long was already out of control. You could see that through...
Oh, look at his steering wheel. Look at van der Snel's steering wheel. That's
it.
He just threw his hand up. He just threw his hand up like this. You got to be kidding me.
That is absolute disaster. Of course, it's multi-class racing, but we never want to see the classes come together like that. It was a bit of a messy situation. I feel sorry for all involved because no one wanted that. There was no intentional fight there. They were out of class, and van der Snel doing the right thing. Disaster for him. His World Finals is done. So now we look at Axpo, Aguilera. We've got another spin.
That's Kenny. I think that's Kenny Nail, and Clapham into the pits. That's going to do it for his World Final. Brady, I'm gutted for him. He's got his hands on his helmet in the pit right now. He's hitting his head on the back of the seat. He's just upset about that. Kenny Nail.
Well, the thing is, though, the crews have got to work fast here. It's not necessarily over until it's over. If there's a full course caution, the main thing would be not to go a lap down, I think.
Indeed, and they are removing the front bonnet of the 77 car in the 1340 as we take a ride on Rambo's car. That's Mike D'Ambrose that you see here. He has moved himself up to P4 so far, but still leading that charge in the 1340s is Chris McMurray, but the closest battle on the track is P1 and P2 in 1340. Jace Bacon all over the back of...
And Brady Clapham giving the signal to the team. He's out of this race, throwing the steering wheel up over the cockpit. Brady Clapham, in absolute disgust and frustration, gets out of the motor car.
Tom, we talked about that. We talked about picking up 3 wins and then whether or not that was important enough. I mean, he is gutted right now. I don't mind sharing with you the emotion that Brady is feeling. He's just... He had this one in his hands, he thinks, and he's just gutted.
Absolutely destroyed after a full week. It's quite emotional to watch, actually. The raw emotion going through the helmet of Brady Clapham, the Canadian doing everything right until the winner-takes-all final. It's absolute disaster for him. It's opened the door, though, for Jace Bacon. What has happened? Chris McMurray now.
Yep, that's a position change.
Position change. Jace Bacon in the lead. And where has Jace Bacon come from? It's been a tumultuous run for him this weekend. The 17 driver's been nowhere. Now in the lead of Pro 1340. A big moment for him. So whilst one Crown Concepts driver has found disaster, another one finds himself in the lead of Pro 1340.
And we're looking at Von Glace right now, who's made his way past Mike D'Ambrose, and they both made their way past Dale Dillon near Oak Tree.
Remarkably, we still haven't had a full course caution, and we've certainly had lots of commotion.
Pretty quickly, I might add, Jace Bacon has extended his lead by just over a second on Chris McMurray. Burgess sits there in 3, and now you're looking at Ian Aguilera and this battle between Luke Kendall, Aguilera, and further up the road by 6 seconds, Jonas Axpo.
And Phelan Venkatesh is right in this as well. Wayne Williams has had a spin. So the 57 with damage on the back of that machine. Wayne Williams going again. Still.
And we haven't said much about it, Tom, but Schreiber and Jenks are only a 10th apart up there in the front of the field, and Steve Jenks just put down the fastest lap of the race.
Maybe we could go on board with Louis Schreiber in the 111 machine. How about that? Here we go. So it looks to me like Schreiber's already made the pass, but Steve Jenks, we can see him weaving around in the mirrors. Does Steve Jenks have a go? Louis Schreiber runs very, very wide.
Way
and
wide.
Jenks through, but it's...
and he's
Jenks
touched.
has had a spin. There's been a touch, I think, between the two of them. We could see how wide Louis Schreiber was going. Steve Jenks now spins round, but he's going again. So Jenks... Oh, no, and Jenks has looped it. Disaster as he's trying to come back on the track. Steve Jenks just too abrupt on the loud pedal there. Steve Jenks goes around Louis Schreiber. This is disaster for Steve Jenks in the 68. I can't quite see much damage on that car. So what happened? How did that happen that he spun around?
So it looks like Louis was on the outside, Jenks on the inside. Louis, the winner of that particular coming together and back on board. Schreiber, as he heads up toward turns 11 and 12. And the 67 car of Long that was involved in a bit of a melee earlier comes into the pits.
Wow, so everything changes once again. We had this fantastic battle unfolding with Steve Jenks, Louis Schreiber. Jenks now down to 5th. It's not over yet, and I just have a feeling with everything that's going on, everyone knows this is winner takes all. It's all or nothing. Everything is on the line for these titles. If they get a safety car, it's game on again for Steve Jenks. He's got to find the composure, reset himself, and just chip away at things. He's running 5th. If there's a safety, and he's had another spin. Steve Jenks, come on, mate, just calm down.
That's Oak Tree.
The Group A driver knows how to steer these machines. He's absolutely unraveled underneath that helmet. As side by side, that is
McMurray and Glace.
McMurray and Glace. So Glace carving his way back up. Now McMurray is a fierce racer. I don't want to be Vaughn Glace on the outside of Chris McMurray.
Is this going to end in tears?
Very, very brave stuff. And Vaughn Glace has done it. Superb pass. Wow, I've never seen someone go around turn 3 on the outside and make it stick. Vaughn Glace, spectacular move as he goes back up to 3rd place in Pro 1340.
Done and dusted. Look forward, young man. Don't worry about the mirrors. As some action is starting to take place even further back behind there, you got Burgess and D'Ambrose chasing down the two up front.
So Chris Hoon still leads in the gold 1500s from Brandon Rambo, but they are running line astern. And this man is also in that class and limping home. So what has happened to Andy Lowe running slow around the racetrack? The car doesn't look particularly bad from the shots we've got. I just wonder whether... No, I was going to say the right rear. Does that look a bit low? But in any event, the Englishman...
I'm with you. It doesn't quite look right. It might be the livery, but...
So now we're on board. This is Wayne Williams trying to come back through. I'm sure One Motorsports has been on the radio to also calm this driver down. The 57, he's won a championship here in North America, just recently crowned at Lime Rock Park.
Let's see if we can go back and pick up a replay and see if there's an angle that we can try to determine what the heck went down.
So
Jenks on the outside,
yes.
Louis on the inside, Jenks back to the inside, Louis on the outside.
Does he get tagged?
Does Louis turn in, maybe?
Yeah, it's hard to say, isn't it? But I mean, it must have
You don't
been
want to make that call from here.
very
Yeah.
late. I actually think Steve might have done that all by himself.
Could he have pushed himself wide? This Brandon Rambo off.
So Brandon Rambo now.
Does
Disaster for him.
his rear wheel look like it's tucked under
Certainly the front might look a little low too, but in any event, the 16 of Brandon Rambo off to the side of the circuit. Now this could be a full course caution. Will this be the thing that closes up the field? We've got a car off at turn 11 as well.
Yeah, this is somewhere in the second sector.
So Brandon Rambo for Spring Mountain. This is just near turn 5.
Yeah, as you kind of enter the 6 and 6A and start to go through the S's and the climb up the hill, Brandon Rambo looks like he's still working to try and get the car going. I may have spoke too soon about problems in the left rear, but his visor's not up, and it looks like he still wants the opportunity to try to get this thing going, although the visor is, well...
Yeah, full course caution. It's been announced on race control, and it is out.
Okay.
So now the field resets. What will this mean? Louis Schreiber has done the job. Now Greg Gorski's back in the hunt.
Yeah,
Scott Wagner too. Wayne Williams, he had the spin, and Steve Jenks is not out of this either.
Not by a long shot, Tom. In fact, Wagner was like 25 seconds back. So that front race between Schreiber and Gorski was all its own. Wagner was 20-ish, 25, maybe even 30 seconds back along with Williams. That's gone. And so with Williams and Wagner and now Jenks, who just put down, or rather, he owns the fastest lap at the moment, Steve Jenks. But
yeah, so there's the car off at turn 11, and it's hard to see who that is. In fact,
who else is stopped here?
So it'll be also
Is that
interesting to
Valen?
see how all of the cars, where the traffic is, I think, as they line up.
Could be. And tumbling down the timesheets is Valen Venkatesh, and it does say that his car stopped in the second sector.
Yeah, that looks like a black car. So the Cameron Racing car, Valen Venkatesh.
And is something going on in turn 1? Because we are seeing white flag along with the double yellows in turn 1. That would
Maybe
indicate
emergency vehicles just going out on the circuit.
for certain.
We're picking up a little bit. Yeah, so the emergency vehicles just going out. But you're right, and maybe they're just returning to their station there or resetting themselves so that we can get this one back underway. Still 20 minutes remain on the clock.
Tom, how about 1500 Pro? Look at the top two guys there.
Well, Ray Nicol, of course, had done all the work he needed to extend the lead before this full course caution. This has got to be his worst nightmare. If you think about it, Ian Aguilera has the number 1 panel. You've got to think that Luke Kendall has shown some pace as well. Jonas Axbo's been there all weekend long. Could you see an opportunistic move coming back after this restart? As I say, it'll be interesting to see as the safety car picks up the field where the out-of-class cars are. That's going to be a huge key to this restart. If Radon Nichols got a couple of cars between himself and Ian Aguilera, that will give him the buffer he needs. Of course, the same can be said throughout the field. So look at Jace Bacon with Ford and Glace right behind him and Chris McMurray behind him. So what we're going to see, this is going to take a little bit of time to extract the Venkatesh car out of the wall. We're going to see the field close up underneath the safety car, line astern, and the front runners in Platinum class are all together. We'll wait and see how they actually are on the racetrack in terms of the sequencing for Pro 1500, but the front runners in 1340 also running line astern. I think the biggest winner, perhaps out of all of that drama, Chris Hoon, easily in the lead of Gold 1500.
Hoon has the almost entirely the 1340 class.
Brandon Rambo has just come back on track. So there you go. So Brandon Rambo, now he's slow. He's letting the field pass, interestingly enough.
Let's see if we can see his throttle. He's still keeping it reasonable right now. Not sure if he is, again, we pointed out maybe his left rear. That is not confirmed, but something went on with Brandon.
That's at least good news that he's going again because, A, they'll be able to tend to that car in pit lane. You never know your luck in this thing. You've got to keep going, and it's one less car to extract from the side of the racetrack. So perhaps that's what we saw, was the emergency vehicles being dispatched in turn 1. Of course, then Brandon got going, so they tucked behind the wall. Right, so full course caution.
And the start-finish stand still has the double yellows out as the pace car makes its way down the front straight here.
So we're going to get one more lap under the safety car. Louis Schreiber working the wheel, trying to keep the heat in the Hankook rubber. Behind him, it's car 60, Mike D'Ambrose, who's going to be swallowed on this restart by a number of cars.
That is a fair amount of damage on Valen's car.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, that was a brand new carbon front splitter on that car before this race.
Tough one. But I'll tell you, it really, not that it needed it, but it is really re-energized, so to speak, Tom, every single class, right? Schreiber, Gorski, and Wagner in Platinum. Nicol, Aguilera, and Kendall in Pro 1500. For Hoon, he is in the catbird seat with any number of cars, 7, 8 cars between he and Andy Lowe, his next competitor. And then over there in 1340, Jace Bacon and Vaughn Glace. You got Chris McMurray there and Robert Burgess all looking to get back to the pointy end of that part of the field.
Vaughn Glace is in a Crown Concept sandwich.
Yeah, he is.
It's not a place I'd like to be.
Nope. Nope, not at all.
Especially with Chris McMurray behind.
Although I would say that the Crown guys, they are equal opportunity. They'll go for it no matter whether you're a teammate, whether you're they're gonna race you hard. They're gonna race you hard no matter what.
There's any team orders, that's for sure.
Right.
But Robert Burgess could be sitting pretty, depending on what happens on this restart. He might be just waiting for the action to unfold in front of him and not get caught up in it. I think as well, has Steve Jenks, has the red mist just dissipated in his helmet, or is he still going to be fired up after that incident? I suspect he's going to be pretty electric on this restart.
Yeah, and those who know Steve, he's a pretty quiet guy. He's pretty even keel, and so I think that he's going to turn this opportunity into, let's call it good rage, maybe. He's not, whereas this guy right here that you're on board with, Louis is also kind of a enthusiastic guy. He gets pretty excited. He gets pretty emotional.
Enthusiastic?
He gets pretty emotional. You kind of know what's going on with him. Steve is a little more quiet. And so how they approach...
I think the big test for Louis Schreiber, and he's gesturing to this pace car, but the big test for Louis Schreiber is going to be the emotion. You can see there he's actually already getting a little bit frustrated with the safety car. And I think that Schreiber has to remain calm underneath that helmet. He's going to have the pressure of Gorski, the pressure of Wagner, Williams and Jenks behind. It's everything to play for. He was really frustrated by a couple of things that happened in the National Championship. The emotions are running high. He's racing for much more than himself. The Nico Kinetic Foundation that's on the car, This win would mean the world to this family and all of the folks that are living on in memory of Nico. And I think Louis Schreiber, we'll see how he goes. We're green again, and Schreiber with a great start. So it's a 14-minute shootout to determine who's going to be the 2025 World Finals. Mike D'Ambrose doing the right thing and just getting way out of the way when it comes to the Platinum class cars. So Wayne Williams is in the thick of things. I'm looking back because Steve Jenks is just carving his way up through as well.
Yeah, and he just passed Dale Dillon. He's got Rayden Nickel right on his tail. Steve Jenks is no more chill for Steve Jenks. He's got to get this going. And this is a pass for the lead. Not necessarily a pass for the lead, but a battle for the lead in 1340. That's Glace and Bacon.
Yeah, so it looked like Glace had got ahead momentarily. And look at this, Robert Burgess, P3. So he's ahead of Chris McMurray. Fantastic restart for Robert Burgess. We're picking up the action. It's McMurray. A bit of a tap and a hip and shoulder as they go through from 3 to 4. And all of a sudden, Robert Burgess relegated back to 4th.
Fair play there. It looks like Chris did 3 and 4 a little bit better. No harm, no foul. That's just good racing.
Right.
McMurray back into 3rd place, but Burgess had it for just a moment.
It looks like Burgess has got plenty of speed through the upper S's too. Now, look at this on the grass. So this is...
That's D'Ambrose. And
that is the number 1, is it not?
Ian Aguilera. That's the first and second place cars in Pro 1500. So Mike D'Ambrose needing to get out of the way there. I don't quite like how that played out, but
all of a sudden, Nicole has got a mirror full, has he, of Aguilera, or is that
and we can call it all of a sudden. But I mean, I think ultimately they kind of, when they took the green, they were next to each other. So and that was the point earlier with Nicole. He's now going and having himself a proper battle.
So the Mexican has put himself into contention well and truly for the world title. The number 1 plate, could it be retained by Ian Aguilera? Nicol will be trying his best. I've got a feeling there's going to be a bit of protest after this race too, with some of the things that have gone on. Wayne Williams
just a
sliding
tiny bit wide,
and gets
yeah,
tagged,
and
and a massive,
that's Scott.
unbelievable. And Wayne Williams already gesturing to Scott Wagner and absolutely furious. I hope these two get going again, because I reckon Wayne Williams, it's a good thing. Yeah, he's certainly making a few salutes there.
Yes.
And motions to Scott Wagner.
The number
Wayne
one,
Williams
he was indicating the
back
number one.
on track, but with damage in the 57 machine. And
he's got a problem with the rear. Yep.
Yeah, that's just
Wayne,
body
take
work.
it easy.
It's body work, but he
Take it
doesn't
easy, don't let that
need
tire
more
go.
drama. And I think he's going to have to come in, doesn't he,
Don't let that tire go, buddy.
Yeah, this is a high-speed circuit, and you can hear the anxiousness in Mike Anzaldi's voice.
Yeah, that is not, and it's at the top of that hill there coming up toward Oak Tree, where that car is generally at speed, doing 155 miles an hour. Yeah, you want to make sure all four of the tires.
Looks like that bodywork has kind of cleared the way. Scott Wagner's up against a wall.
Visor up.
I'd like to think that's A-OK. Scott Wagner's still moving, and if he can just clear it to somewhere safe, that'd be helpful, because we'd like to keep this green for the rest of this. And Wagner, you can see how much dirt and debris is in the car, so that's good. So Scott Wagner,
Well done
getting
there,
out
Scott.
the way. Yeah, well done for that bit anyway.
Yeah. We're just looking for little nuggets here. We do have a side note. Jason Greenwood, the 529 car, with the beautiful Eddie Van Halen guitar livery. He is in the pit and out of the World Final.
Right, so picking up some more side-by-side action. Here we go. This is Jonas Axbo alongside, that's Luke Kendall. The two giving each other just enough space at the moment. Axbo around the outside again, and it's interesting they're getting the momentum, and good driving by the two young guns.
And I've noticed that Luke Kendall is very difficult to pass. Maybe it's okay to get past him, but he doesn't go away. He doesn't go away after you've passed him. He's usually right there. So
well, that was for third position, so that's for the final step of the podium. Nicol still in the lead from Ian Aguilera, and the car 4 now slow. So this is Andy Lowe. There's 9 minutes remain. Andy Lowe, we need you to get off the circuit. Andy Lowe has certainly heard my words of wisdom there, because he's at least refired that car. Steve Jenks with the fastest lap of the race, mate.
Yep.
What can he do in the dying stages of this one?
And you see your gaps right in front of you there, 2.3 seconds for Jenks on Schreiber, where there's been a position change.
Yeah, so Gorski tumbled down then.
Yes, he certainly did. And now it's not just, that pass didn't just happen. It happened, and then a couple of seconds have taken place.
Ian Aguilera staying within reach of Nicol at the moment, it has to be said.
1.3 seconds. This is a good race.
Wow. So
that's Gleason Bacon.
17 of Jace Bacon, and Bacon very, very aggressive. You can see how far Glace is going over to the inside, Jace.
Yeah, he's going to make Jace go on the outside.
Which is good for Jace, I think, if Jace can pop, because he'll be on the inside for the next corner. And he goes a lunge down, around, tries to outbrake, but Glace very, very late, and they touch a little bit. It was okay, I think. Jace Bacon just giving a small nudge, but to be fair,
I might suggest it was perfect. It was just the perfect pass. Is that Aguilera going through the?
I think that's. Is
that Lowe? That's Andy Lowe. Yeah. My apologies.
But he's just trying to limp it home to the pit lane. Thinks he doesn't want to do the big walk.
Sure.
So Steve Jenks,
all over the back of this man.
Yeah, Louis Schreiber with Steve Jenks, the 68. Jenks was ultra quick earlier in the week. Jenks put it on pole before being DQ'd, came back and did a good job in heat race number 1.
Steve's had a pretty fast car down the straights. We've seen through drone shots that he picks up most of his pace right out of the corner on throttle, and that wing is laid back. So let's see if he can use his low downforce setup to catch the leader in the Platinum class.
So now, Mark Anzaldi, you've certainly been in this position, out in the lead of a motor race with your rival right behind. What goes through the head? What are you trying to focus on or not think about?
Well, I'm a little bit weird, Tom. If I ignore my mirrors, I do much better. If I don't think about what is behind me, I can do the laps that I know I'm able to do and find success that way. As soon as I'm looking in the mirrors, my lap times fall off, and that's when I...
What a fairy tale comeback story this would be for Steve Jenks. Louis Schreiber has got a mirror full of the 68 machine. Steve Jenks, when he had, multiple loops, he'd spun 2 times, 3 times. He was effectively, he would have thought, out of this motor race, now fighting for the Platinum class win. Radon Nicol has Ian Aguilera at bay. For the moment, Jonas Axbo is well in contention for a podium in his first Radical World Finals. Jace Bacon continues to fight with Vaughn Gleis. It's very, very close, and in fact Gleis now sizing him up into turn 1, but we'll keep watching this action right at the pointy end of the field. I just sense that Steve Jenks and the 111 of Louis Schreiber are going to be side by side in a minute. And
he took a half second out of him in the last lap there, but the lap times are actually very, very close between Schreiber and Jenks. It looks like they're doing 147 flats, the both of them.
Here we go. Look at this. Jenks really going up behind the gearbox. The slipstream working. Jenks pops out to let Louis know that he's there, but he can't do anything this time around.
And Steve doing exactly what I describe as a driver might be distracting. You just pop out, you make your car visible in the mirrors, and it requires or it forces the guy that you're chasing down to take his eyes off the center, off the front of the road, and look in the mirror. Even that little bit of looking is a problem. Jenks getting a beautiful run.
Jenks to the outside. Louis Schreiber to the inside. Jenks is known to be the last of the late breakers, but who will do it? We saw how late Louis Schreiber was earlier on in the race. In fact, he locked up, and Louis Schreiber manages to keep Steve Jenks at bay yet again, but Jenks looking extremely racy. This is high stakes, high pressure racing. The 111 of Louis Schreiber. The emotions will be starting to run pretty high underneath that helmet. Steve Jenks wants to come back and win this world title too. It's all to play for here at Virginia International Raceway.
Louis had a little bit better than a 1 second lead in the lap previous to this. Steve took out a half second. In the last lap, Steve took out another half second. Looks like Louis gains a half second as they go through the first sector here, but Jenks very quick down the straights. And we're seeing that with the results as they
on the front straightaway. While we're watching this battle, Vaughn Gleis having a fantastic run down the inside, and it was actually Bacon who was to the inside. Gleis getting boxed out, and here we are side by side, and Jenks with a fade and a fake. This is this battle. They're actually rubbing panels going into turn 3. It's Jace Bacon on the inside, and up the front of the field we've got the same thing. Side by side, the leaders in the Platinum class. Jenks through, unbelievable.
Louis had to let him go.
Louis just hoping that he'll get him back.
Oh, wow. Excellent battles as they head up toward the oak tree.
So the timing chart still showing Jace Bacon ahead in Pro 1340. This race isn't over yet in either of these two classes. Just looking to see Radon Nicol has a little bit of a gap. Interestingly enough, it just seems like Steve Jenks has been released, but look at this back marker. And look, also, it's...
it's Jace, and he's put a little bit of a gap.
Gleis has fallen back a little bit, so Vaughn Gleis with a little bit of work to do. Who's got the setup for the long run?
3 minutes to go. It's probably about 2 laps.
So Louis Schreiber, hit your marks. Focus on the corner ahead. As we've got Andy Lowe running slow again. Andy Lowe, I just feel like it's probably time to park that somewhere safe.
Yeah, what are we doing here, Andy?
Because we don't want to interfere with the World Championships that are playing out fantastically well on the racetrack. You don't want to get mixed up with this man here. Just behind him, the leader in the Pro 1500 class. Have to be very, very careful. Radon Nicol negotiates his way around. My heart was in my mouth because Radon Nicol hasn't had a lot of luck. Steve Jenks with Louis Schreiber starting to just reset, refocus, and claw his way back up underneath the gearbox of the 68. Louis Schreiber, it looks a long way when you're in this car from riding on board in the cockpit.
And we're right on the edge, Tom. I think that Jenks is going to have to do it twice. Yeah. This is probably not going to be the last lap. We're checking.
So
okay, let's see.
Timing thinks it might be the white flag this time by. It's 1 minute 50 on the clock. It's going to be
she's holding
tight.
it and displaying it. Yep.
So the white flag is coming out for Steve Jenks. What can Louis Schreiber do? Can he come back at the 68?
Braden Nickel with a 4-second lead on his competitor and nothing between Bacon and Glace.
Yeah, let's see if we can pick up this action in Pro 1340, the 17 and 18 of Jace Bacon, Vaughan Glace. It looks to me, unless Steve Jenks puts a wheel wrong, as he runs very, very wide, he's pushing hard in the 68.
And Tom, let's rewind 15 minutes for Steve Jenks. Wow.
This would be a tremendous comeback, a great win if he can do it. Now, this is for position as well, is it?
Well, that's Expo.
That's Expo maybe on Andy Lowe, just carving his way through. But where's Vaughan Glace? Where's Jace Bacon?
On the timing sheets, they're only a second apart.
So something's happened a little bit there. Glace has just fallen back a little bit, hasn't he? And it seems to me, while the action has been thick and fast, all of a sudden the champions are starting to rise to the top. The cream is settling on top of what has been an amazing World Championship event here at VIR.
And he's gapping his competitor.
It's an old school circuit, a storied circuit. There's been plenty of score settled throughout the history of this great racetrack here in the US of A, and now Steve Jenks has just a couple of corners to negotiate before he can declare himself, as he has a little moment just coming onto the front straightaway. But it looks to me like it will be the 68 machine as the checkered flag is prepared. And Lenny Toombs gives a thumbs up to his driver who's just taken out the Radical World Finals. A champion of the world, Steve Jenks. Louis Schreiber home second. Greg Gorski looks like it'll be third for him in the 24 machine. Crosses the line and pumps his fist in the air. A fantastic result for him. Now we wait and see. Raiden Nicol. And look at this. The battle's tight in 1340 as well. It's come back. Raiden Nicol celebrates in style, crossing the line. He's P1 of the world. Raiden Nicol, a world champion from Ian Aguilera and Jonas Axpo. And now we await the 1340s. Chris Hoon's going to do it in the gold class. But the 1340 battle, there's a little bit of a gap, but it's not over yet. Jace Bacon setting his sights on this checkered flag.
And this isn't about what Glace can do. This is about what Bacon
doesn't.
So get this thing back in.
So Jace Bacon just has to negotiate this final apex. Don't run too wide. He's been off there in that part of the circuit. But he comes on to the front stretch. Jace Bacon makes his way to the line. Congratulations.
Attaboy,
Crown
kid.
Concepts already celebrating on the pit lane. And Jace Bacon, after what has been a rough run this weekend, takes out the world title. Congratulations. And Chris McMurray just ahead of Robert Burgess. So Vaughan Glace finishes second. Unbelievable run of results from the front of the field to the very back in each of the classes. Some big upsets, but some big moments. And we ride on board Louis Schreiber, who I gotta say, hats off to him for one heck of a race. But it is that man in front, the 68 of Steve Jenks, who's done it, who is the world champion in the Platinum class. And wow, well, Louis Schreiber has put in an absolute effort in both the long season and in this championship fight. But in the end, the Radical New York Group A racing team coming home with the goods, and Steve Jenks will be just hoping that he picked up enough marbles and everything else on those tires, because he doesn't want to come in too low.
Yeah, the tech is now the
Yeah, and I've got
the next battle.
It is
right?
indeed. So I'm going to head down to this Parc Ferme and try and get some of the reactions.
As you should. I can't wait to hear what you come up with, Tom, because what a race we just experienced here. This guy that you're on board with had a very, very even, steady weekend, and in any other weekend it would have been a massive success, except this is the World Final, and the last race is the one that counts, and you're looking at the guy, Steve Jenks. There's Louis again, but Steve Jenks is the one at the end of the day that made it happen for the Group A team, and they are thrilled. Jonathan Scarallo and his Group A team out of New York, hands up for Steve Jenks. There's Lenny Toomas, his car chief. There's Johnny, and congrats all around for your newest Radical Cup Platinum Class World Champion. Even the photographers. Jeff Walrick coming through and giving Steve a tap on the helmet.
Raiden Nicol, congratulations, you are champion of the world!
Oh man, what a race. That was incredible. Yeah, I mean, we got a great start. Went from P3 to P1 in one corner, and yeah, I kind of just held our own, you know, put my head down, try to hit my mark, stay consistent, minimize mistakes, and that's what we did. We came here to win, and well, we did it.
You've probably done it the hardest way possible, but congratulations, Raiden Nicol, you've won the one that counts. Well done. We'll try and find Steve Jenks over here. Steve Jenks, unbelievable story. You thought about not competing this weekend. You've come home with the goods. Congratulations, world champion. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds awesome. That's one of the hardest races I've ever done. Some of it self-inflicted. But yeah, the car was great. Thanks to Group A and Lenny. And yeah, you never know. The race is never done till the last few laps.
Talk about racing never done. Early in that race, it looked like it was all over. I don't know if you could talk us through that turn one incident, but all of a sudden you'd had a spin trying to get back on the track, another spin down at Oak Tree. It looked like your day was done, and then a full course caution and the drive of your life to come back and take the title.
Well, I thought I was done too. So the start was just a racing thing. There was no issue there. The second spin, you know, I was there, and Louis came down and pinched me off and spun me. And then I got excited and mad, and so I had a self-inflicted mistake there. And then we also loosened up the rear of the car somewhere in that contact. But yeah, I needed that yellow just to get my blood pressure down and lower my head and start driving.
Well, start driving you did. Congratulations. That's a tremendous result, Steve Jenks, for Group A racing. We're just going to come over here because we've got to go and find our Pro 1340 champion. And it's been one of the toughest weekends ever for this young man. Jace Bacon, the whole weekend just didn't really go to plan, but then all of a sudden it came good when it needed to. Congratulations, you are champion of the world.
Yeah, it's insane. I can't give enough credit to the crew on Crown. I would not be here right now if it weren't for them. Just everything that could have went bad did, and they kept putting me back on the track, and we just made the most of it.
Yes.
And had one heck of a race, but really could not do it without them. So number one goes to them.
Unbelievable stuff. I mean, just talk us about the emotions through the weekend, because it has been tough. The car has got more panels on it than you can poke a stick at. You've just about seen every speck of dirt and grass there is around VIR Raceway, but in the end it gave you the tools to come out and hit your marks. That final lap, you were under all sorts of pressure in the race, the final few laps from Vaughn Glace, but you put it together, kept your head, and came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, definitely had a lot of lows throughout the race, but I mean, they were able to put the car back together. I just did what I could with it. But, I mean, stuff happens, and it's how you bounce back.
It's how you bounce back, indeed. Seth Bacon, you must be a very proud dad. Racing, this is what Radical Racing's about, isn't it? Racing with your son.
Yeah, it's his moment. He earned it. Went through a bunch of adversity this week, and if there's one kid out here that defines perseverance, it's Jace Bacon. It's his moment.
Well, that wraps up things from down here in Parc Ferme. Congratulations to our world champions. This has been the Radical World Finals from VIR.